Welcome back to some new petty revenge stories. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Paid Twice for It. My employer is the worst. Since I've been there, they have been really awful with me about basically everything. The company has decided it needs to actually comply with the law here and have first aiders in the offices we have. Nobody wants to do it, as it's a 3-day course which is paid for by the office. We are all busy, but the office is kind of desperate, so they've offered travel expenses and food costs, etc. Usually they wouldn't. It's also a pretty expensive course to undertake for the practice, but it's mandatory, and without a first aider available on site, they can get fined. Usually, this position would be filled by an administrator who doesn't charge out of their professional services by the hour. But they are idiots who got rid of their admin teams as much as possible during 2020. I've signed up to undertake the training. I'll have 3 days of work, learn a valuable skill, and cost the company 3 days of charging for my services, plus my expenses for attending the course, and the course fee itself. It's a lot of money for them to pay basically. Little do they know I'll be moving abroad at the end of the year, so they will have to do this all again for someone else or be fined in January for not having a valid first aider. It's a small win, but a win for me nonetheless. The next story is called Fired. 3 weeks ago, I left my corporate small fry job making $12 an hour with tips for a cushy salaried $60K per year head chef position. The new job seemed to be going really well. I was enjoying it. The owner got some much needed time off and time to work on his reservations at the place. I knew I wasn't walking into the most well-maintained environment and planned to really spruce up the kitchen, but it was actually worse. I was the only kitchen staff they had and nobody seemed to care about anything in the kitchen. The owner seemed really nice. He only had to pop in for about 30 minutes a day to see if I needed anything from the store. My co-workers were all really nice, and all the regulars gave me high praise for my food. It was honestly a dream job for me. When I was going through the interview process, I informed my potential new employer that I had some pre-approved time off at my old job. 3 days to celebrate my 25th birthday with my husband and mother-in-law. 3 days because my mother and her boyfriend were coming from another state for their normal visit. And 2 days to celebrate my husband's birthday. All of which were spread throughout the month of June. The first round of 3 days went by with no issue. I returned to work and had a good time. The next 3 days went by spending time with my mom. When I returned to work this last Tuesday, everything seemed fine. Yesterday I went to work, not really having any prep to do, and being a thunderstorm day, it was slow. I maybe did $150 in food sales in a full 8-hour shift. I sent a text to the owner, asking if he wanted me to shut down early, as we did during my first week of training. We did $300 in food sales and he shut us down an hour early for it being too slow. He responded and said no. Keep the kitchen open full hours no matter what. I understood, responded that I would without issue, and went about my night. That evening, about 10 minutes after I returned home, the owner asked me to call him. On the phone call, he informed me that our relationship was not working out and we needed to part ways. I had no warnings, no talking tos, and he could give me no reasonings other than, "You just had 6 days off and you wanted to close early. It seems like you are just not the right fit." Now, my husband, mother-in-law, and I were fuming, as it's kind of a bad thing to do to an employee. But due to us being in an at-will state, there was nothing I could do to fight it. This morning I'm on Indeed, putting out more applications, and I noticed my old job was posted, but with a minor change. The new posting went from $60K per year down to $18 an hour, nearly half of what he agreed to pay me. This set me off. If he was just a decent human and told me that he couldn't uphold the original agreement for the salaried, I would have agreed to a pay cut. I did really enjoy this job and the people I was with. Instead, he beat around the bush and refused to give me any reasonings, making me believe I had done something wrong. So now I've concocted the revenge. I only worked for him for 12 shifts total. In those 12 shifts, I did some cleaning, but couldn't accomplish it all as there was a lot. So this morning I went and grabbed the email for the Food Safety Administration for my county and sent them a lengthy email about my concerns about this place. It's made me feel better knowing that there's a chance that there could be some backlash to an owner who has no common courtesy for their fellow workers. The last story is called Stupid Ex-Boss. A few years ago, I worked at a right-wing media organization. It didn't align with my politics. It was an aggressively stupid and amateurish operation with bad pay and clueless management. My boss was a complete idiot, totally unqualified, hired primarily because of his connections and political leanings. During his training, he ignored the IT people who were teaching him, chewing gum, looking at his phone, and generally being a douche. He didn't like me because of many reasons. Because of all this, he schemed to get me fired with completely fabricated complaints. He wasn't important enough to fire me himself though, so he told all these lies to his boss. I fought back and had proved that almost all the accusations were lies. They briefly backed down, but this just set him off more, so I still got axed about 6 weeks later. However, since we all knew the reasons were complete lies, they gave me an enormous severance payout to keep me quiet. So I got a ton of money to leave a job I hated. However, he was too spineless to even be in the office when I was fired. He came in late that day to avoid me. Since nobody escorted me out, this meant I was still in the office unsupervised after they canned me. Given our small team and staggered shifts, it meant he would have to do my job for about 4 hours until the next capable person came in. Sabotage time. I went into our video editing software and website CMS and changed a million little settings he'd never figure out since he never paid attention when he was trained. As I left, I ran into him sneaking in late through a side door, obviously trying to avoid potentially encountering me. I just laughed at him. As the day went on, I got many gleeful updates from my now ex-colleagues in other departments about how he was losing it trying to cut an upload video, but couldn't get anything to work. They could literally hear cursing and shouting through the office walls. More sabotage. Also, he was too stupid to change the password to the company's Twitter feed, where they posted all their news and videos. Dozens of posts per day. So for the next few months, I would log in and randomly delete various updates, which drove him further up the wall. He eventually changed the password, but here's how stupid he is. Soon after, he posted a photo of his new team in the office, including the office whiteboard in the background, where he'd written all their social media passwords. I continued doing it. Unfortunately, on the day that I decided to delete the entire Twitter account, they changed the password again. Oh well. A few months later, I walked into a movie theater and saw him. He saw me too, and, no joke, hid behind his copy of that free movie theater magazine. After the show, I decided to hang around the main exit to the theater just to see what he'd do. He headed towards the door, saw me, spun around, and headed for a side exit. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.